Hello and welcome to another macro video. Today we've got what I've called a nightmare scenario. So let me set the scene for you. I've just finished editing a book. It was 31,000 words and took me 12.5 hours, which is fine. However, after I'd finished, we had the client saying one of the authors has sent us a new version with a few extra edits. Can you just incorporate his changes? It's that four-letter word, just. Can you just incorporate it? It's okay, they say. The changes are track changed. Okay, so my mission was to compare the two texts and try and spot the differences. And their just job took me 3 hours compared with the 12.5 that the whole book took. However, if this happens again, it will take me less time because I've worked out some improved techniques. So let's have a look at the material. I've got the incoming file and I edited it, and I've created what I call my edited file. Then they sent me another version of the initial file but with the extra edits. So the incoming file had some track changes on it from author 1, and I just accepted those and carried on with my edit, but the second file, the modified file, had track changes from both author 1 and author 2. So the method I used was to look through all the track changes in the second incoming file, and I then manually made the changes in the edited file. So I was looking through, having to try and ignore the author 1 track changes and just look for the author 2 track changes. So okay, that took me 3 hours, and I used 3 rather important macros which I'll explain about in a minute. However, with hindsight I could have improved, because if I'd used my compare now macro, which takes 2 files and compares one with the other by using track changes, what I could have done was to compare the incoming file, the original incoming file, with the second incoming file, and the compared file between those two would only have track changes for the second author's changes. So that would have been really helpful. I'm not going to demonstrate that because that's available as a separate video showing you how compare now works. What I will do is to show you the 3 macros that I used when I did those 3 hours work. Change next, which allows me to jump from one edit to the next, ignoring the comments, which is quite helpful. The second one is find same place, which jumps me from, remember that I'm comparing the incoming file 2 with my edited file, and trying to make the changes in my edited file. So I need to jump from incoming file 2 back to the same place in my edited file in order to make the extra changes. And what I also found useful was a macro that I use called compare text, where you select a bit of text and you compare that with the same paragraph or sentence or whatever in the opposite file, in the other file, and it will use highlighting to show you the difference between those two. So if you're trying to make the changes based on the difference between the two texts, then compare text will help. So let's have a look at that in action. I've got 2 sample files. What have I got? I've got that one and this one, my nightmare file. So the nightmare file is the one where some changes have been made and I've got to implement them in the other file. So I use change next, which will jump me down through the text to the next change that there is there. Look, it's they've changed 185 to 176, So I use the find same place. So what I want there is, it's no good looking at that, because you won't find that in the other file because it's partly changed. So if I look, say, for a bit here and run find same place, then it'll jump me across there to the same place in the other file. So we spread those out a bit. So you can see, if I make it smaller, that's where it says 185. This is the one where the author has changed it. So I can go to here and change that to 176 in there, and I've made that change. So back to here, find next, change next. So that goes down to there. There's a comma been added there, so jump across to the other file. Oh, it's not been added, look, it's the semicolon has been changed into a comma. So that's how I go through and make those changes between the two files. So I mean, those changes were pretty obvious, but I will show you compare text. So what I do is I select that paragraph and click Control C to copy that, and then I go to the other version, select that, and then run compare texts, and that tells me they're exactly the same because I've already changed it. Let's go back and do that. Let's try again. Now compare texts. So it's highlighted the bit that's different there. I've got some more sensible things to show you so you can see it happening more clearly. So here are some, I've put them in the same file just so that we can see what's going on. So there's two paragraphs there that may well have changes, there may well be differences. So if I copy the first one, Control C, go to the next one and run the macro, the compare text macro, then that's found you has been changed to your, and instantly the spelling has been corrected. Well, the other way around. So you can also go the other way. You can copy that one and then compare that one, so it will do those. The other thing about this comparison, this compare text macro, is that if I copy that one and compare that one, that gives a double bong to tell me that actually, even though they look different, they've got different formatting, they are actually word for word the same, so there are no differences. And again, just to show you the difference between comparing one with the other and vice versa. So if I copy that one, come on, and compare with that one, it shows you those changes there. So what have we got? This into these, you can lose it also. So in other words, what's happened there is that something has been added. Look, also either, also you can lose it. So there's text added. If we do it the other way around, if I copy that one and compare with that one, then this one is more obvious that what's happened here is an extra bit has been put in there, and on this one it's the other way around. There's more in the one than the other. So by going one way and going the other way, you can sometimes make it clearer where the difference is between the two bits of text. So I hope that's helpful. What I reckon is that I could have done the comparisons, having learnt these extra techniques. I've improved compare text macro to make that easier to use. With the improved macro and with the idea of, as I was saying, comparing the two using compare now to find only the author 2's changes, I reckon I could probably have done the change in 2 hours instead of 3, so I could have saved myself an hour. But the job was hourly paid, so actually from my point of view, the nightmare scenario wasn't mine, it was the client's. Okay, that's all we've got for today, and so thanks for watching, and if you have any queries, drop me an email.